Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Happy Thursday to you and your family. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking another look at Bitcoin after that wonderful J Pow speech yesterday where the price shot down and inevitably shot back up again. We can see this reflected on traditional markets, fairly consistent as well. So for the most part, this pump that we're seeing from Bitcoin has a backing to it essentially with the traditional markets, and of course big surprise dollar index is still kind of coming down. So for lack of better terms here, we're seeing a lot of other catalysts kind of in place, but the key takeaway is that we are still not able to break through that resistance zone here at about 29,000 as a round number, and we're seeing, of course, at this point the price action kind of holding in place. Obviously, it just pumped up to that level and decreased pretty significantly yesterday. So a lot of little things we want to take a look at here. So we'll take a look at iBlock Capital and just make sure we understand specifically where we're at there. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, feel free to become a community member. CryptoCash.tech is where you can join. Obviously, you can register here at CryptoCash.tech if you want to become, just say, a better trader or be part of something bigger. We have a trading academy, community, and signal group where I basically teach you everything that I know and how to trade effectively. All right, so check that out in your own time. When it comes to Bitcoin, though, let's take a quick look at iBlock Capital and kind of see what's going on here. First, we'll take a peek over here at liquidation levels. We can see right there the most amount of liquidation in the last 12 hours at about 27,150. Now, while the price didn't come down to that point exactly, it does tell us that there's a lot of positions that either closed or had opened at that point. Okay, so that's basically where we have a lot of interest, for lack of better terms, but our support level is right there at about 27,100. Okay. Also, furthermore, we can see some liquidation levels at about 28,500, which just happened obviously here just a moment ago when the price pumped up and probably stopped out a lot of shorts. Okay, what does that mean for us? Well, it just tells us here that we have more shorts getting liquidated than longs, at least in the last 12 hours. But if you look a little closer here, you can kind of see, I don't think we can zoom in really there, but you can kind of see in just the last hour, of course, we have a lot more shorts getting liquidated too with that long push. Okay, so again, mostly good stuff there in that regard. Open interest is accumulating the most here at the 27,750 range. Okay, so the most amount of shorts and longs are accumulating there. Now, what does that mean here for us? Well, bottom line is that we have still a lot of shorts or more people intending to sell than they are to buy right now. We've got open interest coming down. So what that really implies here for us, whereas the price action coming up like this, there's a greater chance the price will come down as a result of that, because when you have open interest decreasing, the amount of asks are also increasing, and the price action is kind of stuck going sideways, which we've been range bound for a few days now. There's a strong chance we could see the price action stay in this range or come down. In other words, it doesn't have enough strength to go past that point and to push through that resistance level yet. Okay. Again, keyword is yet, but we'll see how the next few days treat us. Fear and greed index is slowly tapering off. We're at a 57 instead of a high of 68 here a couple of days ago. So that meeting yesterday kind of knocked some sense into the market, but it also kind of confused things too, because we see this significant decrease in price. What was that? From top to bottom in roughly 2 hours. This is why you want to be very careful trading into those kind of speeches. We have almost an 8% correction in less than 2 hours. Okay, and then what do you know? 12 hours later, the price is right back where it started. This is cryptocurrency for you folks. It's just kind of a lot of nonsensical stuff, but keep in mind also too, once again, traditional markets are factoring in, and we're seeing a very similar behavior for the regular markets. So that kind of just foreshadows here that we could be bearish in the overall sense in the relative near future, but there's also potential if the traditional markets continue to increase and finish strong this week, we could see a continuation to retest that level from Bitcoin. All right, so let's take a look at the the daily, work our way down. So we look at the daily here, we can kind of see that there's a lot going on in this range. Once again, 27,000 is a round number, upwards of 28,500. The price still is yet to close above 28.5. Okay, so that is a good sign for the bears, essentially telling us that, hey, they're having difficulty getting past that level. But you got to keep in mind, we're tentatively above 28,200, which is the most recent resistance zone. So a closure above 28.2, or just say 28,000 in general, would be significantly positive for potential further upside. Once again, candlestick closures take a while to close, specifically on the daily, so we're still early, still premature. Try not to worry too much about it. When it comes to TD sequential here, we can see we're still counting up and kind of sideways here. So while we are overextended, we're getting some consolidation at this level, adding a bit of volume, which is very, very nice. That could allow for us to continue further upwards from here. We are also losing momentum on the MACD, basically telling us here that we're not diverging. We are essentially just no longer converging, right? So we're losing that momentum to the upside, which is standard. It's normal for a 10, 11, 12-day continuation. But nonetheless, we can see here that with the RSI kind of testing 70, we're still kind of at a resistance zone. So it's going to take a little bit more volume to break through that level, but if we can break above, just say a closure above 29K, then there's a great chance we could see a run from Bitcoin. But for right now, it's best to anticipate the price action getting rejected at that level. We're losing momentum, etc. And a lot of different things are kind of coming into play here, showing that it's difficult to pass that point just yet. Okay. Again, regular markets continue to flourish. We might see a different story here altogether. 4 hour is converging. We are about soon to see a convergence on the MACD if the price can continue higher. We've got the RSI above 50, below 70. So really mostly telling us bullish signs in the 4 hour. Again, those bullish signs are based on the last 24-hour period, and ever since the price came down and kind of bottomed out at roughly 26.6, then we haven't seen the price action slow down to the upside since. Okay, so it really just tells us we could see further continuation in the 4 hour, which is fairly positive in a lot of ways, because the 4 hour does transition into the daily, so that could shift the dynamic back to bullish on the daily. Because honestly, the daily time frame doesn't look super bullish to me. I see that we have a lot of resistance. We're overextended. There's no reason for it to continue much higher. But if we keep seeing this strength on the 4 hour, it could very well work out to be a very positive sign, and the price could continue further up from there. Okay, so good stuff there in that sense. When it comes to the 1 hour, let's quickly take a look at some traditional indicators. This is where things get kind of funny. See, we're in range-bound activity, so the price dropped below the cloud, giving us a bearish sign. And then, of course, what do you know? The bears flip bullish and go straight up from here. So it's kind of like this liquidation hunt. You can see this happen all the time in crypto, unfortunately, where it'll, anyone that's trying to short got squeezed out. Anybody trying to long got wrecked. I mean, it's really difficult to kind of maintain unless you can find those overextended states. The way that I find overextended states is a handful of different reasons, different ways. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that just so you know, because on the 15-minute time frame, a lot of my traders will use this strategy where they use the Bollinger Bands. And anytime you go outside that standard deviation here, which we see, then that's a case in point where you want to try to potentially get in. Okay, so like for example, I know we had some XRP longs within our community, and we can see that from majority of them got in about the 26.6 range when Bitcoin is trending right this level. And what had happened is the price action came down, of course, got overextended, and when you stay outside those Bollinger Bands too long, the price has to come back up and retest this level. Once it breaks above that level, typically stays above. All right, so again, it's not an exact science by any stretch, but if you take a look at certain other coins, it's absolutely kind of following that, that system, if you will, right? You get in when the price is overextended, and inevitably the price will continue higher. Again, you got to be patient. Obviously, these things don't turn around right away, but that's just a strategy that a lot of folks will use, and some confirmation that I will use oftentimes on the 15-minute to see roughly where we're at. I also use my CC Golden Indicator too. This is available on our website, by the way, and what it is you can essentially get these entry signals, and when the price is overextended, it'll give you basically an opportunity to be able to sell. Right? Now, if we look in the history, that's kind of roughly what it does. It'll indicate a sell signal. You could have shorted at this point to this level, and then, of course, rinsed and repeated the same action and came back up with it as well, right? So again, those are little things that I look for. This is just confirmation that I've built into this indicator, giving me kind of that little security knowing that we're on the right side of tracks, and there's a lot of other factors, of course, involved, but it's fairly basic, very straightforward, and I would recommend considering checking that out. As a matter of fact, we did put this on the website here just yesterday, and we'll have instructional videos on how to use it, of course, once you purchase. So it is available on the website if you'd like to consider checking that out. But once again, at this point here, minus those other indicators, I would say on the 15-minute time frame, the hourly is kind of screwy right now, and there's no real trust or security in the Ichimoku cloud based on the fact that we've been range-bound for the last few days. Okay, so range-bound activity, remember, the cloud is almost rendered useless. It's very good in trends. It's not great in just horizontal patterns, because it's hard to identify when you're above and below certain resistance zones if it's just consistently up and down within that range, right? So false positives like crazy there. Last thing we can look at is the hourly, see if we're overextended, and obviously we're only about 3 hours into this push because we had a nice period of consolidation here. So in truth, the price could run for another 6 hours. I don't foresee that happening, honestly. I feel like this, the reality of this push is coming into place, and the price will slowly decrease in value over the next 24 hours. I'd be very surprised if we break 29,000. Don't get me wrong, I really like to see it. All of our portfolios would grow, There's nothing wrong with that. That's a very positive thing. But in the overall sense of things, just realistically speaking here, the daily looks absolutely more so bearish, and we should expect the price to come down, at least to correct to one of these levels, right? We've got this magneticism right here at this level here, this previous resistance at roughly about 25,300. Would not be surprised if we see that retested and our short signals hit their targets at that level. Okay, so again, I think we're going to probably see some further downside here soon once this reality sets in, and anything could happen, honestly, though, too. I really hope it doesn't work out that way. All right, thanks again so much for joining me here. Hope that made sense and I was clear and concise in this video. Feel free to comment below, like, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. CryptoCash.tech is a site where you can register if you want to become a better trader. Look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.